It was about 6 months ago when I first heard this phrase, structure creates freedom. And it was so counterintuitive to me. And yet these people whose accomplishments I really respect kept talking about it. And that launched me down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out what the hell this means. Without ever really thinking about it or clearly defining it, I always thought of freedom as what I'm now calling the 4 Ws. What I want, where I want, when I want, with whomever I want. I think the reason that I ended up with this no rules, no structure idea of freedom is because when I was a kid, all of the rules and the structure in my life were created by other people, and they weren't there to help me get to the goals I wanted to get to. They were there to help push me inside of this system. And so when I left that situation and I got my own autonomy, I thought all structure is bad, get rid of all rules, live at the whim of my desires, and go with the flow every minute of every day. In order to talk about what structure creates freedom means, we first need to talk about this thing called the problem of the two minds. Ray Dalio in his book Principles spends an entire section on this problem, and he talks a lot about the evolutionary drivers that got us here. Basically, when evolution was developing the language centers and the prefrontal cortex, the neocortical parts of the human brain that does our thinking, that projects us into the future, puts things into language and words and structure, it didn't redesign the whole rest of the brain to go with it. It just took the monkey mind it already had and added these new pieces on top. And it left us with what is really these two functioning brains, which gives us the great joy of being the only animal on the planet that gets to sit around and go, damn it, why did I do that? Almost all of our arguments with ourselves are based on this dichotomy between now and future, or between going with the flow and goal-oriented. Think of it like a boat going out onto the ocean. You can just put your sails up and let the winds take you where they may. And through this process, you will discover things that you never knew existed. You will go places that you could not have possibly planned to go because you didn't know they were there. But you'll also get stuck in a bunch of doldrums and go places you didn't want to go and spend lots of time going nowhere. But on the other hand, if you have good sailing skills and a plan and a map, you can tack against the wind and you can get to the place that you wanted to go in your mind's projection. We live a huge amount of our lives in habits, in habitual patterns, and that's where I started to understand this concept of structure creates freedom. In the moment, we have a very hard time actually deliberating a decision. Structure allows us to design plans that get us to goals in the future that stop us from being pulled away from our plans in the moment by our emotional brain just wanting what it wants in the moment, or by the forces of the outside world that is constantly battering at our doors and pushing us around, those winds that are pushing the ship wherever it wants to go. We all want to believe that we're making choices in the moment, that we're choosing what we want to do, but oftentimes we're being pushed around by societal norms or social pressures. We're being lured in by advertising or tricked into just scrolling on our phone for hours on end. Corporations get better every single day at playing to our base desires and co-opting our evolutionary drives to get us to buy their candy or watch their movie or get the clothes that we just don't really need. If we can use the thinking mind in order to build structures and plans and habits that get us to where we want to go, and yet still leave room for the emotional mind to be spontaneous and have fun in the moment and enjoy itself, then we've developed a good balance between the two minds. And that's really what we talk about when we say that this person seems centered, or they're calm, or they know who they are. It's that they've developed this relationship to the point where it works well, and one of them's not bullying the other one, or the emotional brain's not hijacking the whole operation and running off with it for a while until the thinking brain finally gets control again and pulls it back. It's not just that structure creates freedom, and it's not just that spontaneity creates freedom. It's creating this balance between the two that is really a matter of getting your upper mind and your lower mind to communicate well and work well together.